Hi, this is Craig Stocks. I want to talk briefly about my approach to doing star trail photos. As you can see in the example here, surprisingly, you can even do star trails over fairly brightly lit urban areas. This was over downtown Honolulu, Hawaii, so a lot of light pollution, but still a lot of stars visible and able to do star trails. So I'll talk briefly about the camera setup and then in more detail about the processing. So to set up for star trails, basically you want to set up your camera something around ISO 400, f2.8 to f4, somewhere in that neighborhood. The more brightly lit the area, the lower the ISO and the smaller f-stop you'll use in order to minimize the effects of light pollution. You can use a shutter speed anywhere from 20 or 30 seconds up to 3 hours or longer. My approach is to use lots of exposures of relatively short 20 to 30 second exposures and then combine those in Photoshop. And the biggest advantage of that is it allows you to control the impact of the ambient light, or in this case the bright lights of the buildings in the foreground, so that they don't just blow out, which they would do in a 3-hour exposure. It's important to turn off your camera's long exposure noise reduction. What that does is after every frame it does another frame of the same exposure length in order to reduce noise. The problem is that doubles the amount of time to take a number of frames, but more importantly it'll create gaps in your star trails. You need the camera to just click one after another for however many frames you want. So that means you need to get the camera to just run continuously. There's really two approaches. You can use an intervalometer of some sort, and many cameras have an intervalometer built in where you can set that for the number of frames and the length of each frame, and if you want an interval between frames. If you don't have an intervalometer, or sometimes a more direct approach is just to use a remote shutter release and set your camera on continuous shutter mode and just lock the remote release on so the camera just fires one frame after another. So after you've done that, you will wind up with lots of frames. And in this example, I took something like 120 frames with 20-second exposures each. And we're now looking at it in Lightroom. This is the finished image, but if I look at the images that went into making it up, there's in the neighborhood of 120 frames, 20 seconds each, so around 40 minutes. And each individual frame doesn't look very interesting. In fact, if you look at the sky, it looks almost completely black. If I go into the Develop module, I can show you I did just very little processing to this. That's the unprocessed view, and that's the processed. So kind of the before and after. Not a big change. And if we zoom in on the sky, you can see, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's just barely visible little streaks of star trails in each frame. So what we want to do is process one frame to however we want it to look, and then use the Sync Settings button to synchronize all settings. And notice that I have a selected photo. This one is the most selected, and the other 120 are also selected. So by syncing settings, that lets me copy all of the developed settings from the most selected to all of the others. And after I do that, then they all have the same setting. Next, I want to open these in Photoshop to stack them. And the way you do that is just right-click on one of the images, choose Edit In, and Open as Layers in Photoshop. Now, again, because there's 120 files here, I already have these opened in Photoshop. So at this point, let's bounce over to Photoshop. And this is the way it'll look once everything is done loading into Photoshop. We have 120 or so layers in the Layers panel, and they are all in what's called normal blending mode. Let me turn off the history panel. And again, it doesn't look very impressive, but this is where the magic starts. When it first opens, you'll have them all stacked, and the top one will be selected. And what we want to do is select all of the layers. The easiest way to do that is go to Select, All Layers, and now I have all layers selected, and I can scroll down through the panel to see all layers. The magic happens when we go to this blending mode drop down. By default it'll say normal. If I drop this down, I can see there's lots of different options. The one I want is lighten. And when I change this to lighten blending mode, what that's going to do is take only the pixels from each layer that are lighter than what's below it. And so by putting all of them in lighten blending mode, that'll allow all of the star trails to show up against the dark sky. So click on lighten. That'll change all layers at once, and like magic, we now have star trails. They're still a little bit faint, but we do have star trails along with a lot of airplane trails. Now you might be satisfied with the image just the way it is, in which case you can flatten the image in Photoshop and then go back to Lightroom. I like to usually do a little bit more work, mostly taking out the airplane trails. And the way I do that is to work through the layers individually and use the spot healing brush to take out the plane trail. Now what I find easiest is you can click and drag down the eyeballs that control visibility of each layer, and if I scroll down to the bottom, it will continue scrolling down and turning off visibility of all the layers. So now I have nothing visible. Go back to the top and just click and drag down the first several and see if any plane trails show up. And in this case, some did down here at the bottom. I can now go back kind of one at a time, and you can see, I think this may actually be a boat rather than a plane, but there's a little bit in each layer. Now, you can make a judgment call because this is at the very bottom where there's not a lot of star trail activity. This one might be easier to take out once we've combined all of the images. So if that's what you choose, and I'm using the scroll wheel to zoom in and out, just highlight the next set. Now we have a trail showing up. So by turning on and off the layer, I can see exactly where it's at. So simply click on the layer where the plane trail is visible, select the spot healing brush at a fairly small diameter, maybe 2 or 3 times the size of the plane trail. You can click at one end and then shift click at the other end, and that draws a straight line between those 2 points. Now I know the next layer up has the next segment of trail, so again click, shift click, move up to the next layer, click, shift click, move up to the next layer, click, shift click. You can see little gaps that kind of show you where the star trail begins and ends on each layer. Continue working my way up the stack. And looks like I missed a layer. Here we go. Click, shift click. By using the spot healing brush this way, you don't have to work around the star trails, and it's only using the information on each layer because I have sample all layers turned off. So I'm only healing what's on that one individual layer. And we still have some more trail on the other side of the building right there. So again, click and shift click. And basically you would just continue working through all of the layers. I'm going to skip on ahead and leave the rest of the plane trails for now. So I turned all layers back on, and assuming that we're done with the retouching, at this point we can go back to select all layers and then choose merge layers, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Control E, and this will create one flattened image. The reason you need to do this is just file size. Having hundreds of layers is going to make probably going to make your Photoshop file larger than you want to deal with. So once these are flattened, there's one other trick we can use to make the star trails more visible. And what we'll do is first, once we get our flattened file, is I'm going to convert this to a smart object by right-clicking and choose Convert to Smart Object. What this will let me do is apply a smart filter, or a filter to a smart object, and enhance the star trails. And I'm going to do that by going to Filter, Other, Maximum. And what the maximum filter does is make bright areas larger. So in effect, we're just going to make the star trails larger. And it does show you a preview, but I haven't found the preview to be particularly accurate. Since it's a smart filter, we can change it. Just click OK, make it 3 or 4 pixels larger, and that will enlarge the star trails. And that option was too large, so I can just double click on the filter and go from 3 to maybe 2.5. Click OK, and that should be just about right. The problem with that, it really highlights the star trails, but it begins to have an unwanted effect on the buildings at the bottom. The smart filters do come with a layer mask, so I can choose that mask, and I could use just a simple brush and paint with black at 100% opacity to mask out the effect of the smart filter on that part of the image, so that I don't have the garish effect that it creates on the buildings. And that's all there is to it. At this point, I can close the image. It will save and also load the image back into Lightroom. If I want to continue making adjustments in either Lightroom or Photoshop, I can. But just quick and dirty, that's my approach to processing star trails. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. Again, this is Craig Stocks, and you can reach me through my website at craigstocksarts.com. Thanks.